You're listening to the Paranormal Peeps on the Darkcast Network. Come to the dark side of indie podcasts with the Darkcast Network.
We have cookies. Between the realm of the dead and the journeys of the living, join Josh, Jamey, and Aleca as they delve into the vast world of the paranormal and breathe life back into the history of the departed.
I'm Dawn. And I'm Cole. And Scottish Murders is a true crime podcast dedicated to people from or living in Scotland.
Just like anywhere else in the world, these murders can be truly horrific and shocking, and we want to shine more light upon them.
Join us every 2 weeks on Scottish Murders, where we'll bring you cases both solved and unsolved, giving you an insight into the other side of bonnie Scotland.
Find us wherever you stream your podcasts, as well as on social media.
Join us there. Bye!
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Paranormal Peeps podcast. I'm Josh.
I'm Jamey.
And I'm Aleca.
Hey, she's back.
Finally.
She decided to actually want to be part of the podcast this year.
Actually, we drove over there and we just dragged her here, so.
About time.
Kicking and screaming, but you know.
We just bribed her with steak and potatoes.
Steak, potatoes, homemade bread.
It was delicious.
Yeah, it was so good.
So good.
So good.
So we are going to talk about our year in review. This is our annual Podiversary.
It is.
We are season 4, everybody. We are starting season 4.
That's amazing.
I can't really wrap my head around it because it doesn't feel like it's been 4. Like
Yeah,
we're
me
on
either.
4.
It feels like 2
Right?
for me.
Yeah.
2 or like 2.5.
Right?
Yeah, it's gone quick.
Yeah. You blink and you're on year 4.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Crazy.
But exciting too.
And we've done a lot.
We did a lot in 2023, guys.
A lot of trips, which is one of the best parts, right?
Yes, the road trips to and from. We did a lot of new locations that we have never done before in 2023.
Yeah. And the funny thing is we only had 4 investigations that were local.
Yeah. Most of them were.
And they were all repeats.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you know.
But they're the good ones.
Yeah, oldies
Yeah.
but goodies.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Absolutely a lot of fun. Although I got to say, though, we started off the year with a bang.
Oh, yes,
we totally did. Can we do it again this year?
I wish we could. I would do it in a heartbeat.
Oh, no kidding.
It'd be so much fun.
Mm-hmm.
It was I think the neatest part about doing the Stanley Hotel is just getting up there and then seeing it for the first time and like, oh.
In person.
In all its glory.
Yes. Yeah, it was a beautiful, blue sky day with those really white, fluffy clouds.
Scenic background.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
It was beautiful.
It was amazing.
I think the one big surprise, though, is that it's right in town.
I was
shocked with that.
I was
too.
shocked, yeah.
I was expecting it to be more secluded than it was.
And it totally is not.
Well, and it probably was back in the day, but
Sure.
is not now.
Yeah.
You mean they didn't have a McDonald's back when it was built?
Just right down the road, yeah.
But also the funny part of it is we looked like hillbillies.
Oh, yeah.
We so did.
Compared to everybody else that were in there, they were like prim and proper, like high end.
Oh, yeah. They were there for either skiing
High
or
class.
somewhere for wedding.
It was a wedding.
Yeah.
So they had a wedding, a reception, or like guests were staying there.
Yep.
And so when we walked in, they were all going like down to eat, and they're all they're all dressed.
Evening gowns, tuxedos.
Well, and even
Yeah.
then, it was like people that were checking in still looked way better than we did. We looked like a hot mess compared to what they were looking like. They were like dressed super nice and in like these really nice clothes and hair done, makeup done, all the things.
Yeah.
And we're like, we just got done with a really long car ride. And we have these big, huge coats on with big old fat skulls on the back. You can tell what we're here for.
But you know what's funny, though, is I had my Paranormal Peeps baseball
Like the jersey
on.
Yeah, you did.
And I remember hearing someone, I was walking, taking stuff in and out, and I had my jacket on, and someone's like, yeah, there's a Paranormal Peep here. Like someone has like someone here for the paranormal. This is like, I'm like, yeah, that was me.
They're like, that's so cool.
They're like, is it haunted? Like, why else would I be here?
We're going to find out.
I'm not going to pay that much a night for a room not to go.
If it's not haunted.
Yeah.
Kidding.
It is a very not cheap place.
Well, I think we were a little shell-shocked at the price of the room for, I think it was 3 nights we stayed.
We did, but we had a big room though.
We did.
Yeah.
Yes.
So they have spirited rooms is what they call we could call haunted rooms. And all of those spirited rooms are all suites.
Yes.
And so
Well, there was one that wasn't. It was tiny.
yeah.
It was like a little tiny room. But anyway, other than that,
Yeah, other than that, they're big rooms. And so that's nice. So, I mean, but you're going to pay for it.
but I have to say, it set the tone sleeping in that room because of the wind outside.
Oh my
we
gosh.
were rocking in the room.
In 2 different directions, actually.
Yes.
Yeah, because we were in the corner
Yes.
and of the top of the hotel. And it rocked us.
Yeah.
And it was making those howling sounds through the windows and like
Through the doors in the hallways.
And
Yeah.
it was not subtle.
No.
no.
Well, it was 70-mile-an-hour winds with like 80, 90-mile-an-hour gusts. It was like
Yeah.
ridiculous
Yeah.
wind.
Yeah.
So I think that's probably the highest wind I've ever seen ever.
It was cool, but at the same time, it was a little unnerving
It was.
when you felt the whole room shift.
Shake.
Well, I was more worried about the windows. Like, are they going to hold?
Oh, man.
But thankfully they did.
They did.
And would I do it again? Yes, I would.
In a heartbeat.
Absolutely. It's such a fun, like, the one thing we learned the last night we were there is that if you're going to go there to do a paranormal investigation, just do it. Find a spot in the hallways or or in the basement area and just investigate. Nobody cares.
No.
Well, I mean, as long as you're being respectful, not disruptive to anybody else.
Yep.
But, when you guys went down, it was later.
Oh, it was like 1 a.m.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was later, but we were respectful. We tried to do the lobby. That didn't work just because there was
Music.
So much
there's music.
Yeah.
And I tried listening to the voice recorder. I'm like, no, this is worthless.
not
It was
gonna
too
work.
loud.
But we did investigate in the basement by the tunnels, and that was perfect.
Yeah, like so in the basement by the tunnels, there is not a lot, but there are some stores down there that you can go walk through, right? Because they have like,
There's a chocolatier.
there's like a basement walk-through door instead of going up the stairs to the front entrance. There's a door on the side that leads through and has all these little stores or like sit-down areas for
Coffee shop.
Yeah, things like that. Anyway, and for the tours. So we just went to the end of that, and that's where the tunnels are, where we sat down. And there's nobody down there. We're not by any bedrooms or any hotel rooms or anything like that. So it was nice.
It was quiet.
And whenever we do something like that, we always have the people that are walking around for security coming up to us and telling us like stories that they've had, or you should go here, or
Which is always awesome.
Or, hey, do you want to go into the opera house?
yeah.
Why? Yes, we do.
Yes. So it was way fun for us.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was worth it, for
100%.
sure.
Yeah. The price is everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, save your pennies for like a long time and save a lot of them. But every penny is worth it.
Absolutely. The thing is they have the Stephen King suite, room 217. Honestly, don't
waste
your money. Like,
No.
it's only famous because he stayed there. It's not because it's super haunted. Like, there
No.
are some reportings of hauntings in the room, but the 4th floor is the most haunted floor in the hotel.
Yeah, which is where we stayed. We stayed in the haberdashery room.
Yes, which is 2 floors above the Stephen King suite.
Yep, right above it.
And the Stephen King suite has a 1-year waiting period.
Yeah, no thanks.
Which is crazy to me.
Yeah.
It is, yeah.
But
I mean, if you got somebody that's really into Stephen King and they want to stay there for the purpose of that, then I get it.
Yeah. Although, obviously, I think it's more claim to fame is the fact that the maid blew herself through the floor, lighting the lamps.
Yeah, and if you
But
want to
she
know,
lived.
yeah, she did live. But if you want to know what we're talking about, you can check out our Stanley Hotel
Investigation.
investigation and episode.
We had a Stanley Hotel episode season 2.
Yes.
The end of season 2 where we talked about it. And it was from that episode that we're like, hey, we should investigate there.
We're like, let's do it.
And then I surprised everybody with booking it.
Yep. Yep.
So, from there we actually did investigate a place that is no longer available now, which was the Needful Things thrift store.
Yeah.
Or
in Utah.
Yeah, in Utah.
Yep.
And I don't know, that one was fun.
It was. So we actually were the last ones in there to actually investigate before they actually fully closed it down.
Yeah.
They operated that day, and then that night upon closing we came in, and then from there on they were out of business. So
yeah, unfortunately they went out.
Yeah, kind of a bummer. But I'm glad that we were able to get in there and at least get one investigation in.
Right.
You could really feel the energy shifts walking from one side of it to another into the different rooms. You could definitely feel the energy shifting.
Yeah. And I think the cool part is the building next door that shared a wall and a door that was boarded up.
Oh,
or bricked up.
Yeah.
What's a funeral home?
I mean, what could be better?
Right?
Being in the funeral home.
Yeah. Hi, neighbor. Yeah, but if they're spirits, they can just walk through the walls.
Right.
Come see us.
And there's definitely reports that they have during investigations.
Yes.
So that was always fun.
Yeah. Isn't that where Steve got the haunted mirror?
Yes.
Like we put equipment right in front of there to try to see if we could get anything to go off. Mm-hmm. It was like a motion sensor and nothing went off.
No.
Unfortunately, but
we did have probably one of the most interesting experiences after we saw that Type 3, or I got to see the Type 3, and then everyone else realized that it was around. That was weird, looking into the face of a Type 3, which because remember I came back. So one of our pieces of equipment was going off and I had to go reset it. It was that blasted Flux 2 that just sometimes works and sometimes doesn't. And I was coming back in and I thought I saw, I bent down and I looked down the hall, down the big open room next to you guys. And there was kind of a lamp right there, but I didn't see the lamp. What I saw was the face of a Type 3. I looked right dead into the face of the Type 3.
Oh, yeah, that's a little spooky.
Yeah, that was freaky, right? And then we started talking to the Type 3 when we were there. And then Jamey got the smell of pool water.
Yeah, chlorine.
Yeah. And that's when that little boy came in.
Yeah, we were trying to figure out how he passed. And I asked him if he drowned.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
And the interesting thing is we noticed that we determined that he was a crossed spirit. That he came back.
But he came back.
Just to kind of visit his family and stuff, and for whatever reason decided to hang out with us. But as soon as he showed up, the 3 left and went into like hiding in the corner.
Which is weird.
Well, I don't think it's weird. I think it makes sense though.
Why does it make sense though? Aren't 3s supposed to not be scared of?
Because they can't dwell in the same space.
Yeah.
Because he's been crossed.
He's already been to heaven and back.
That's right.
So it just cannot be in that divine space.
See, this is why I like talking about these things, because I don't always fully remember.
Oh, same.
And then as we're talking through them, it's like, oh, that's right. It's like you trigger the memory and it's all there.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Which the funny thing is that was like the most exciting part of the night too.
Yeah. Well, that and we got some furniture.
We did. It's not haunted, I don't think. But
well, I haven't had anything happen, so no, it's not.
Wah, wah, wah.
But that's okay.
Jamie's like,
funny. You're like, okay.
Jamie's like, I like this and I like this. Let's look at those. I was like, all right.
Yeah. Yeah, I got a nice oak double bookshelf, which was lovely. And then I got a little curio cabinet with a marble top.
Yeah, super nice.
Yeah, got a good deal on them.
We did. From Needful Things, we went back to one of our original places we investigate in Bountiful, which was the Anson Call House.
Yes, we did. We actually did this one for Elisa's birthday.
Yep, that was my birthday present.
She wanted to investigate, and so on the 29th.
My birthday's on
April,
the 30th, so 29th.
Yeah, on 29th of April, we went, and of course, once midnight hit.
Celebrated with
angel food cake.
Strawberry shortcake kind of.
Yeah.
Oh, so good.
Yeah.
So good.
But that was a fun one.
That was a good night. So Lisa and I actually started out in the basement of the Anson Call House, and nothing was really going on a whole lot. And then we heard something. I radioed to Josh to say something, and he said, no, nothing here, because we were hearing something. We were wondering if it was Stacy and Josh that were outside at base camp.
Yep.
And it wasn't. And then Lisa's like, how much time do we have left? So then I radioed to Josh, and he's like, about 10 minutes. I was like, okay, thank you. And he's like, no problem. And then over the portal, remember, it mimicked him and said, no problem.
Yep.
That was really cool.
Yeah. I think for me, one of the neatest things that happened, Stacy and I were up in the master bedroom and we put a cat ball in the middle of the floor, or not in the middle of the floor, but by where the bathroom is, the little hallway from the stairs to the main room. There's a little tiny area where the bathroom's at. And him and I are up there and we hear something in another room. So we go up to go check, and I come back, and as I'm stepping by the cat ball, it starts going off. So I'm like, okay, you know what? This is me setting off the cat ball.
Yeah.
So let me just verify. And so I stomp next to the cat ball. Nothing. It doesn't go off.
Oh, that's interesting.
So it only went off when something else touched it. It wasn't me touching it.
How far away
Right.
were you?
How far away from it was I? 6 inches, 8 inches. I was close.
You were really close then.
I was close. And when I was stomping on the ground next to it, it was
Yeah,
like 3 inches. Like it was right next to the ball.
That's crazy.
And the neat thing is that this is the only time a cat ball's ever.
I was going to say, it's never gone off
It's
before.
never.
No. And that was the funny thing is when we were in the Stanley, I was trying to get there's an NTD in the basement. I was trying to get it to play with the cat ball.
Yeah.
And then it's like, no, I don't want to do it. I'm like, how is it that you're afraid of this cat ball? Didn't like that. But
Well, I mean, if they're an older spirit and they don't know what it is,
well, this is true. But
they don't know if there's a risk in going near it
Yeah.
or too close to it. I would understand that.
I mean, they're not going to be an older spirit than a 3, right? I mean, they're the oldest ones around. But yeah, it was funny. I do a little bit of antagonization.
I don't recommend that, but yeah,
No, it really wanted to hurt me after that. So
I'm sure.
yeah. So after the Anson Call House, what was next?
The Washoe Club.
Woohoo! Good old Virginia City, Nevada.
We spent a week.
We did.
That was like so much fun for me. Going night after night after night.
It was
to back.
tiring though.
It was, but it was so fun.
It was
something that
tiring.
we've not ever done before.
Yes, it is tiring in a good way.
Yeah.
I would do it again. Just not in freezing cold weather.
No.
That was terrible.
The funny thing is like, historically speaking, that month isn't a bad month to go.
No, and the only one that I felt was very cold and terrible was the Mackey Mansion when we did that one.
The Mackey Mansion, but the Washoe Club, that was cold.
Like base camp was cold.
That was really cold.
Yeah, I guess I didn't feel as cold there as I did in the Mackey Mansion.
The Mackey Mansion was colder for sure.
Yeah.
Yes. But it did get down to like 16 degrees at night. So like, yeah. It was cold.
I needed snow gear is what I needed.
Yeah, and it was cutting off your circulation at the end of the night. She's like, oh,
I had like 4 layers of pants on. I was like, all right,
I can't breathe.
I gotta move them.
But-
I might freeze, but that's okay. At least I'll be able to breathe.
But the best part of like the Washoe was we had it for 16 hours.
Yes.
It was so fun. We heard footsteps. We heard talking. Like
We smelled cigarette
we
smoke.
smelled cigarette smoke, and
That moved. That was the part that was crazy.
It went from,
moved.
and because we were in a room and we were each sitting on a different wall,
Yeah.
and it went from Josh to me to Jamey, then back to Josh, then to Jamey, and then to me. Like it was weird. It wasn't even like staying in one spot. Like I could go, because I remember when Josh started smelling it, I went over to Josh and I was like, oh yeah, I smell that.
Yeah.
Came back over to where I was, couldn't smell it.
Yeah.
And then a little bit later, I started smelling it.
And this whole time I haven't smelt it yet.
No. And then just 2-3 minutes later,
Then I got it.
Jamie's like, oh, there it is.
And
I
it
can
was
smell it.
strong.
Yeah, it was not just like, oh, a hint of cigarette smoke, because
Oh,
that's
no.
generally what you'll smell. It's kind of like a hint of something.
Yep.
But this was like,
Fresh burning cigarette.
Like
yeah.
someone was right in the room puffing on a
And
cigarette.
We were above the bar.
But the bar's empty.
But the bar was closed when we were there.
and it wasn't like a residual smell, like where it just kind of came up, because the whole room would have smelled like it.
yeah.
Yeah.
It literally went from person. And then also where we were in a different spot in the Washoe Club, we were up higher and you could smell it.
We're on the second floor, weren't we?
Yeah.
Second or third?
I want to say third. Well, second when we first smelt it. We're on that first,
Which is the second floor.
which is the second floor. And then we
Right.
went up and then we could smell it again.
Yeah.
Yep.
So which does not make any sense to me.
Right.
No.
Well, and then when Josh and I went up into what they call the red room,
Yeah.
we went up there and we were using Elisa's SLS. Mm-hmm. And it was just Josh and I was trying to get my dad to show up. And so I was like, come over here and stand by me. And I was standing by the doorway and I was like, over here on this side. And eventually someone popped up there on the SLS.
Yep.
So cool.
And so we had some interaction there for a few minutes.
Yeah. That was neat.
That was pretty cool.
Yeah. And what was neat is we went to do an Estes method up there.
Mm-hmm.
And I like this. I don't normally put the headphones on just because I don't usually get a whole lot.
Right.
But I was like, I'm going to do it. And so while I was doing it, of course, what happens? There's footsteps in the hallway.
Yeah.
Like, not just like 1, 2, and then nothing. But
It was a lot.
yeah, I missed all of it. I was like, this is so cool. Like,
You're like, what?
what happened?
And normally I'm the one with the headphones on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So selfishly, I'm glad I wasn't the one with the headphones on.
Yeah, that's a great place. I would love to go back there
Me too.
Yeah.
and do it again.
And I think
Me too.
it's definitely something we could do this year. We could
Yeah.
definitely go back this year
We
and do it
could.
again.
Yes.
Well, I'm in.
I think the problem is I think we need like a month in that area because that's not the only place we investigated and not the only place we had a good time there too.
Yeah.
The Mackey Mansion was interesting, which was 2 nights after the Washoe Club, which is good because we
We got some sleep in a little bit.
We got a little sleep in.
Well, we needed it.
Yeah.
16 hours is a long night.
Well, the Mackey was 12.
It was. Yeah.
And so that one was interesting because of our activity level. Like we were setting up and it was like the top floor had this ominous,
Oh, yeah.
foreboding feeling like, hey, you guys are not supposed to be here.
It's off
What are
limits.
you doing on this
Yeah.
floor?
Yeah. So when we first got there, I went up to go set up a camera at the top. So you go up the stairs and then there's a long hallway. And at the end of the hallway was where I was doing the camera. And when I was setting that up, I was like, I'm getting freaked out right now. And I don't generally get freaked out. I'm generally like, oh, sweet. This is going to be a good night. Like, I
Right.
can feel it.
It's gonna be fun.
Yeah. But this was not. This was very different than what, I don't know. The creep vibe was
It was off the charts.
off the charts.
Well, yeah, because you came back down and you mentioned it. And I think it was Josh and Stacy that went
Yeah,
up there.
because I came down and I was like, you guys need to go up
Yeah.
and check that out because it is nasty.
Stacy went up there before because he was adjusting the camera.
Mm-hmm.
So I had Stacy go up and adjust the camera, and he could feel it. And Stacy has the sensitivity of the concrete floor.
Yeah, so he went up there and then came back down and he was like, yeah.
And then
that's
Josh went up.
heavy.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Then they're like, "Hey, we need to fix this again." So
Your turn.
So then I went up there by myself.
Well, we had all gone up by
Yeah,
ourselves.
and it's like, yeah, that doesn't feel good
It feels like it's like right there in your face. Like
the whole time.
Demanding you leave.
Oh my goodness.
But what was weird, it was like 1 o'clock hit,
1 a.m.
and the house went silent
Yeah, the rest of the night.
until 6 o'clock in the morning.
Yep.
It
But
was
that's when we were packing up.
crazy.
It was right before we started packing up. It started to get a little more active again.
Yeah. So it's almost like they went to bed
Yeah.
and then they got up at 6 o'clock.
Well, I did have some a good session downstairs. Well, not downstairs. There is a basement, but it's blocked off because I don't know if she's
caretaker.
the owner, but
She's
like
the
the caretaker, they live down there.
Yeah, her apartment's
Her and
down
her
there.
husband live down there. But I would say, I guess the main floor.
Yeah.
There's a cute
Parlor.
in there, yeah. And so I was sitting there and I had a pretty good I was doing an EVP session. I don't know if I necessarily got like a ton of voices through the EVP, but the feeling in there was like an old lady sitting with me. It felt like the maid.
See, earlier in the night,
Yeah.
I used my rods in there, just me,
Uh-huh.
and I was talking with the maid.
Oh, you were?
Yes.
Well, okay. This is great because I was in there with Stacy
Uh-huh.
and I got the maid on the dowsing rods.
Whoa.
I didn't realize that.
Well,
One year
not that-
later, we're talking about this.
Yeah. But yeah,
Wow. Dang.
Because I was alone.
Yeah, and I was alone when I did it.
I just had Stacy with me because normally we don't investigate alone, but literally on the other side of the wall was base camp.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
It was right there.
while you were alone, you weren't really alone.
No.
Plus, we had a camera on it.
Yes, we did. Yeah.
And
wow.
that room never felt that level never felt ominous at all.
No.
It was only upstairs.
Which is where the bedrooms are.
Yes.
Yeah, you and I kind of ended the night up there. We went up there, and her and I were in the hall, and we had your little thing that makes noise, the little outhouse dude.
The little fart machine.
Yeah. But then Lisa's like, I got to fart. And I'm like, let her rip. And she does it. And I'm laughing so hard. I almost peed. And I mean, oh my gosh. Great end of the night.
Oh my gosh. It's like that. It's like you get so excited for ghost hunts and stuff. And it's like date gas. Like 100%. It's like you're going on your first date and you have to fart so bad. You keep it all in because you don't want it to go in the recorder. And you're like, you know what? I got to let this go.
I just got it.
I'm hurting.
I'm in pain.
And I remember we were like, hey, it's going to be the coldest it's going to be this week. It was like 16 degrees.
It felt like -30. Let's be real.
And we're like,
I think
okay.
I got frostbite.
But we were like, you know what? It's a historic museum with real artifacts in there.
Yes.
They're not going to let these temperatures go low. There's going to be heat on in there.
Nope. Zero.
No heat.
Nilch.
And you can't wear shoes unless you wear booties over them, or you can go in your socks because they have original carpet in some of the areas. So that's even colder.
So we're all running around in our stocking feet. So there's in base camp there was one little heater that we all took turns standing in front of.
And it was tiny.
It was so tiny.
So we were all in our like puffy coats, earmuffs. We're indoors. Gloves, like hovering over this. Can I have a turn on the heater?
You should go investigate. I too cold.
My butt's frozen.
My feet were frozen.
Mine were too. And I had like 3 pairs of socks on. Oh man.
But
it was cold.
It was.
Out of all of it though, that first 4 hours?
Yeah,
was
4 or 5 hours.
Yeah, was the best. It was really, really good.
Yeah,
and the rest was quiet.
The rest was quiet. So the tough part is we got back to the hotel or back to our Airbnb,
Which was also haunted.
which was also haunted. That was over 100 years old. It was an
Yes.
old miner's cabin and bordello, and bar, and
A little bit of everything.
It was a lot of things. I mean, we were staying in Silver City, which is just down the hill from.
Is that the night that we like raced down the hill and took that jump in the car?
Yes, it was.
Yes. It was so fun.
Oh,
It was so much fun.
We were laughing so hard.
We got some good
We
air.
caught some air. We didn't expect that part, but we were like Dukes of Hazzarding it over. It was great.
Yes, it was a lot of fun. Don't recommend it. It's very dangerous.
My poor car.
But yeah, that place was also haunted. Because it was a saloon, it was a cat house, it was a miner's cabin.
Yeah.
My room was the bar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, and that first night, I couldn't sleep.
Yeah, because someone was staring at you.
It was like, I could just, you know, when someone's in your room just staring at you, or like you're standing in a place, you feel like you're being watched, you turn around and there's somebody just like looking at you and you're like, hi, or whatever.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like, and how it's hard to go to sleep when someone's standing there staring at you. But what's even worse is when you can't even see them.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And
It's unnerving.
What about when they touch you, like caress you on the side while you're trying to sleep?
yeah, that was you.
Yeah.
Not that you were doing that to me, but that was
Wait a second. I have some questions here. Should I be worried?
That was spooky in itself.
it was like a horror movie.
A nightmare. Oh.
But like in my room, it had some old furniture in it too. And I felt a little bit because it felt like there was more than just one. And we were having also some like weird issues with the water.
Oh, the water leaking out of the wall.
Which there was no pipes, no water pipes.
No, because we actually
all.
brought the owner down to look at it. And he's like, there are no pipes in this wall.
And it didn't make any sense.
It was coming from what would have been the laundry room next door. Like they have a communal
Separate room.
laundry center.
Yeah.
And that's where it would have been coming from. But there was no leaking water. There was no puddling water. There was no standing water in the laundry room at all.
Yeah, and he says there were no water pipes running through that wall right there.
So where are the
they
water
were on
pumps?
the other wall.
And then they would come and go and come and go, and we would clean it up, and then it wouldn't happen for a while, and then it just like
Start.
yeah,
Yeah.
it
Start,
was
and
the
then it was
weirdest
done.
thing.
Then it didn't come back again.
Nope.
And it was like, what in the world?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
That was odd.
So after, well, we had plenty of nights staying in that hotel, that place. But the very next night, after sleeping for 4 or 5 hours, I didn't get a ton of sleep.
Yeah, I think I got 4.
We went and did the old Nevada State Prison.
We did this with Paul Welch, which was a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Not enough time.
Definitely. This place is huge. And
26 buildings.
yeah, we didn't even scrape the surface.
No, I think we did like 1 building.
Yeah.
2.
Was it 2?
Well, yeah, we were in like 2 buildings, but we didn't like.
Well, we only really investigated 1, right?
No, we investigated 2. Like,
Oh, yeah, that's true,
because
we did.
because where the death chamber's at is a different, technically
yeah,
a
you're
different
right.
building than the
From
other
the
ones.
cantina.
Yep.
Yeah, but like in the so actually I think it was 3 total. But the thing is like there's just not enough time. Like you need almost a month there
Yeah.
just to start investigating everything because it was a prison for 100 years.
Yeah.
And even up to the modern day. So yeah, there's just a lot there.
Yeah.
It'd be a lot of fun.
But while we were in Nevada, we also went to the old cemetery up there.
Yeah.
We went up there, and
That was a good one.
that was pretty cool.
We just decided to randomly go there and go sit down and
Just walk in and look at all the
We spent like 3 hours.
and we didn't cover
There.
the entire cemetery.
No, it sprawls out a long ways.
Yeah.
It really does. So, yeah, that was fun. Well, and you forgot to mention, we also, Paul Welch took us to Fort Churchill.
That was the next day. That was the day after Nevada State Prison.
Yeah, but still, we went there
Yeah.
and we didn't investigate, obviously, but we just
tried
looked at
to.
the old buildings.
I tried to investigate it.
Did you?
Very little. I was trying out a new app by Bill Chappell. And so I was just trying it out and see how it worked. And didn't get anything, but didn't try very hard either.
Right.
You know, it was just neat to see the old place.
Yeah. Yeah, it was definitely nice to go out there and get to see it.
Yeah, it was just old sandstone buildings.
Yeah.
And then that's when we tried, kinda to investigate the Silver Queen the next night. The final night there.
We were
Oh
so
my
tired.
goodness.
Oh my word.
And it was a full stacked hotel.
Well, it was Friday.
Yeah, it was
So-
Friday.
We knew that was going to happen. So yeah, we didn't do a whole lot of investigating.
we were pooped.
We were so tired.
We got about 30 minutes of half enthusiastic investigating, and then we're like,
Call it a night.
we're done, guys. We just can't do it.
Yeah, and then
Well, and I think we were just like also laughing so hard at like the stupidest stuff that we couldn't even have like a serious sit down. I mean, we tried for like 30 minutes and then we're like, all right, never mind. Just
we couldn't
move
do
on.
it. We were just
Yeah.
laughing about everything. But and then Josh came and got into bed, and we the mattress
taco.
folded up like a taco.
It was so
It
bad.
was so bad. It's like I'm laying in the bed. I'm ready for bed. I'm tired. He gets in, and I immediately the 2 sides of the bed fold up, and I roll into Josh into the middle. It's like this is gonna be great.
Here's the thing about the hotel. I'm pretty sure those are original beds.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Like it's a very like if you're looking for a historic place to stay,
It's great.
it's a great place to stay. If you're looking for a great, wonderful, restful
sleep.
night,
Don't count on
that
it.
is not the place to stay.
No.
It is not.
But it was beautiful, the staircase and just
Oh,
up in the hallways.
It was one of a kind.
Yeah.
I've not seen one like that.
I haven't either. It was
Those were
beautiful.
skinny stairs too.
Well, not only that, but
Yeah.
so because we were on the top floor, and they have these really cool like openings that you can look down to the next floor down, and it's really neat. But the problem is like it's really narrow right
Yes.
between the wall and the railing. You're
Yes,
like
you don't have any room.
you don't have any room, and
No.
like it's hard to get like a suitcase through there.
Yeah.
Let alone you have to carry, there's no elevator, so you have to carry all of your stuff.
All of our equipment, all of our luggage.
It was crazy. Essentially 2 flights of stairs. And that first flight of stairs, because remember, like,
It's not short.
no, it's not short. So like all of these historic towns, they had businesses down below, and then there was usually apartments and things above it. And so that stairwell up, it's like 60 stairs up. It's like 20 feet you got to climb to go up. That's a heck of a haul.
Yeah.
And then you have to do it again.
Yeah. And then we had to go down a hallway and then up a curvy set of stairs and then down the rest of the hallway. It's
And we were at the end. Yeah.
Yeah.
And when you're already running on empty.
It was tough.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was way tough.
But it's definitely a place to check out. And from what Paul Welch said is if you want to investigate the Silver Queen, kind of do it in the winter and do it during the week.
Yeah.
Like nobody's there. Like it will be a perfect, quiet, nice night.
To investigate.
See, that would be a good one to do in the wintertime, but that would be like the only thing you would want to do in the wintertime.
Right? Yeah.
You wouldn't want to investigate anywhere else unless it was an actually heated place.
Yeah. Which thankfully, Silver Queen is heated. So that makes it nice. But yeah, he said when he was up there alone, he was the only person in the entire hotel up on the second floor, and there were doors opening and closing.
That's so cool.
Oh, that'd be way fun.
That's awesome.
But we did have kind of a random experience where we were in our hotel room and we heard people go into the room across from us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right across the hall.
But then, and like we were awake when we heard them.
Yeah.
And then when we got up to go leave, there was nobody there and the room had never been touched.
Yeah. No, like it was on touch, but the door was cracked open. It wasn't fully shut.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And we heard people go in there.
we did.
We heard them. And yeah, the housekeeper opened up the door and she's looking around and I went in there with her.
And she said nobody stayed in there that
Yeah.
night.
She says this room was empty. She's like, nothing's been used. Nothing's out of place. And it wasn't. The bed was made. Everything was still done.
And they sounded drunk.
Yeah.
They sounded totally drunk.
So drunk.
You wonder if they went in there and they were drunk, right? They go in there, they look at the room, go, nope, go back to the bar.
Yep.
Maybe.
They could have been.
I mean, that's a possibility. It was just weird.
Yeah.
But
It was
here's the
odd.
thing, though. I heard them go in there. I never heard them leave.
I didn't either.
And I was up for a long time.
And-
yes, you said you didn't even really sleep that
No.
night.
Well, those doors are paper. Like that whole, like everything is paper in that building. That's like original like insulation.
Well, and for me, like, I was hearing enough things that I was wide awake for a long time after you guys even fell asleep.
Yeah.
So I don't know when they would have left. Because if they would have just gone into the room and like, nope, and left, we would have heard that. But we didn't. We heard them go in and
That's
I
it.
never heard them leave.
Yeah.
Nope.
So I don't know.
And
That
those
was- it was
floors,
weird.
those floors up and down the hall, they're creaky. You're going to hear people, if they're drunk, they're bumping in the walls because they're so narrow.
Yep.
So, yeah, we never heard them leave.
And so our next place after we got back from our Nevada trip, we waited a little bit, and then we did the Great Salt Air again,
Yes, we did.
which we all wanted to go back because the first time we went in the wintertime and it was cold,
Yeah.
which isn't too bad, but we had these heaters turned on. So
They're big fans.
they're big giant fans, and you couldn't hear anything in the main auditorium area.
Nope.
And so, like, you couldn't do any EVPs. We're like, you know what? We need to go back when it's nicer out. Mm-hmm. So we go back in July, and at midnight, it's still like 90 degrees
We were
in the
sweating.
building.
Especially when you go upstairs. Oh, it's toasty.
It was
Yeah.
so hot. But that's where we got that like 8 foot, 7 foot, whatever tall like thing on
It was like a 9-foot.
So we were looking at the SLS. We had the
Yeah.
SLS out, and we're in like this little kind of like a bar section, it seems like.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, on the SLS, this huge person shows up. Now it shows up as a stick figure, right?
Yep.
So it's not like you see an actual person, but it shows up on the stick as a stick figure, and then it's there for a little while.
Few minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I've not ever seen before last that long.
Unless it was mapping something wrong, right? Like,
Right. Which it can do.
yes,
And we have checked and debunked and that was not it.
that was just a flat wall.
Yep.
And
And
nothing there.
so Josh goes over to touch it and it disappears.
As soon
The
as
minute he reaches out for it,
yeah,
Yep.
gone.
and it didn't come back.
Nope.
Which led to the point that it wasn't a mapping of the wall, because had I walked away from it, and it would have remapped itself.
Yep. Yeah, I never did. At one point, it kind of leaned up against the wall, like,
Yeah, it did.
like struck a pose, like it was leaning on the wall,
With its elbow up.
kind of, being all suave.
I like the 70s style.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
He leaned up against the wall,
Pose.
like, I'm just going to sit here and watch you guys. What are you doing?
Look how cool I am.
Until you reached out, and then he was like, boop, I'm out.
Yep.
He left. So that was pretty cool.
That was cool. Although, and then our next investigation was the old Montana State Prison again.
The good old classic.
Always a good one.
Always a
Never
good one.
fails.
Never. That
The
one was
more I
cool.
go, the more I like it.
She's like us. Yeah.
The thing is it's huge.
Yes,
Like
it
there's
is.
just so much property.
Not
And-
once have we ever investigated the entire thing in one go.
Nope.
No, even though we have 12 hours.
Yep.
You have
Yeah.
a whole night long, and you still don't get it all in. And the part that is neat is like the activity. Every time we go, the activity is always different.
Yes, it
every
is.
time. And it never repeats itself.
No, it hasn't. Like some places are active and then others aren't. And then it's just kind of variant. And it's like, wow, this is really neat. And you get all sorts of different types of entities coming around. It's just this strange, like, conglomeration of spiritual energy.
Yeah. Always fun.
Always fun.
The Death Tower was my favorite that entire night.
Yeah, that was so much fun. Which is the first time we actually have ever had activity up in the Death Tower.
Oh, yeah.
So, which is neat, because we get it in maximum security. We get a lot of activity there. And they say that if maximum security is active, that tower's quiet, and vice versa.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and we kind of found that, right? Like, there was the one female spirit we ran into in Max, which used to be the old female prison,
Yeah.
and she was
a tough cookie.
She was feisty, man.
She was sassy.
But that's very similar to like what you would see in a women's prison now.
Yeah.
You have the girl that is like dominant over the other ones.
Yeah.
Yep.
And kind of makes all the rules, and you got to follow my rules. And she was sassy. She was like, she wasn't going to take any bull crap, but she demanded respect. Like, it was very typical of what you would see in a prison nowadays.
Yeah.
But she also had that attitude of like, you respect me,
I'll respect you.
and I'll respect you. And that's the way she kind of came across. And it was a fun little conversation. It didn't last too long. We kind of had a quick conversation in the beginning of the night, and then at the end of the night.
Well, I think because we were going in there just to set up, right? I don't think it was.
Yeah, we were just there to
We
set
weren't
up.
going in there to investigate. She
Wasn't
just
on purpose.
showed up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the night, when we finally got back in there before the close, before 7:00 or cleanup time, that's when we got a little bit of more time to talk to her. But it was very short, very brief.
I think we had more information that first go
Yeah.
when we were first setting up.
Yeah. And it was a lot more active that time.
But in the Death Tower, what was so cool was we had that experience where it was like it replayed that.
You got to see that. That's
You got to see it
amazing.
unfold.
Which I have never had that happen before. Never.
Yeah, so that was a new one on you.
Yeah. So for me, I am sensitive to spirits. I can tell where they are, and I've been that way my entire life. And so for me, it's just like I can sense where they are. I don't actually like see them,
Yeah.
But in my mind, it was like this whole replay. I just was seeing it unfold, and I'm telling Jamey all this is going on. And it wasn't something I could control. Like, I could not stop it. I couldn't fast forward, rewind, like in your head, how you can replay things in your mind. No, like I had no control over it. It was just playing out as it was going. There was nothing I could do about it unless I left. Right. So I'm replaying the scene of them dying. Whether that actually happened, I have no idea. There's nobody that's going to know that answer. So anyways, so I'm telling Jamey as this is going on, we get done. And then when we leave, we're walking down the stairs.
Yep.
And the stairway's like, it's a kind of a narrow hallway, or stairway, but it's like cement walls like on both sides.
Yeah. No handrail either.
No. And I got to probably the third or fourth step from the end, and I just felt it instantly. It was like that negative feeling, or that like something's here, feeling.
Yeah.
And your steps are quick, when you're going down.
Sure.
And as I'm processing this, it's like, oh, there's something in the like, right? It shot an arm out. Like, I didn't see a face. I saw a white, like with my eyes, which I don't see. I saw a white hand and arm go out. Where's my stomach area? Grab at my stomach and then pull away really fast. It didn't go to my stomach or anything like that.
Yeah.
It was just
It was
out,
the motion.
grab and pull.
Yeah.
And I hurried and I flung around to try to see if there was a body attached to that or anything. Nothing. It wasn't there. There was nothing there.
Yeah.
It was so cool.
That's crazy.
I was like, did you see that?
Yeah, see, so I was right behind her and then Josh was behind me. We didn't see it, but boy, we saw her reaction.
Well, you did. I didn't see anything.
Oh, I saw her reaction and she's like, oh my God. I'm like, what?
And mind you, I don't really react like that.
No, she doesn't.
No.
I don't. That one completely took me off guard because normally I can sense it before it comes.
Yeah, it was
And
so quick.
This, I sensed it within seconds, before seconds. It just happened so fast. My brain could not process.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Startling a little bit.
So, and I was like, but it was like a cool startle. It wasn't like a scary startle. I don't know. It was way cool.
That's awesome.
That's neat.
That's so cool.
I've never had something like that happen.
That's neat.
Yeah, and then we went. So after that investigation, we spooky season hits, right?
Sure.
Yep.
And
October.
we did our kind of typical public investigation, and then just a friends and family night over at Benson Grist Mill, which is kind of it's kind of become tradition for us, just because it's a fun place to go.
It's
always
a big location.
Yes.
there's tons of buildings.
So it's easy for everyone to go there and to have their own time investigating without bumping into somebody else.
Yeah. And so that's always fun. I mean, we've been there quite a few times, usually 2 or 3 or 4 times, sometimes every year.
Yeah.
So-
I've been there more than I can count.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've lost count.
So it's always fun, but it's, it's kind of our typical, kind of
I have to
hangout.
say, though, I had my most favorite experience that I've ever had there when we had our public investigation there.
Did you?
Yes. So mine was, so I met these group of girls and they were just chatting before they started to go investigate. And they're like, yeah, we're mediums. And I was like, oh, cool. And while we were talking, they're like, do you want to come with us for this section that they were doing? They were going to the loom room. And I was like, heck yeah, that's my favorite place to go. So we went to the loom room, and I always have something that happens to me physically when I go into the loom room. Like I'll get pinched or tugged on my clothes or, something like that. Which you don't really get physical things that happen to you when you ghost hunt.
Not generally.
No. So anyway, we're sitting in there and we start feeding off of each other, and we start like, oh, there's this person in the room and she looks like this, and this is what she needs. This is what her husband did. This is what her dad's name was, and then and we were talking, we're like, okay, because we were trying to figure out her name, and they were like, I think it's Elizabeth. And I was like, you know what? I want to say that it's Elizabeth, but I actually think it's Emily. And we were like, yeah, okay, whatever. we were, and then you move on.
Right.
So come to it. I was like, hey guys, I got to go. I have to do a demonstration in the mill, and they were going to go off and go do something else. And so we go separate ways, and they're waiting for me when I come out of the mill, and they're like, Elisa, we are so excited. You have to come see this. And I was like, what? And they take me over to a cabin that's a little across from the loom room, and they're like, read the plaque. They're like, have you ever read this plaque before? I'm like, actually, no. In the 10 years that I've been doing this and the 100 times I've come, I have not read the plaques. I don't know why, I just have not. Anyways, so I read the plaque, and it was Emily Elizabeth's house.
That was that's the
cool.
Forsyth cabin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He built that cabin for his wife.
Yeah.
Emily Elizabeth.
That's awesome.
That's so cool.
We got Emily Elizabeth right. We got her husband's job right. We got her dad's name right. Like everything that we talked about, nailed it.
That's
all
so cool.
inside this plaque that they chose to read. And I've never had that where you can almost instantly verify the information that you get from, it's not necessarily a reading, but it's like where you're sitting down having this conversation with the spirit. Like,
Yeah.
Right.
Usually we got to go back, get some internet, take some time.
Yeah. But
do
to
some
have
digging.
Yeah.
that quick of a turnover where you're like,
That's
oh my
pretty cool.
gosh, that really
Validation.
happened. Yeah, it was so freaking cool.
That's amazing.
And the one thing that's really neat about Benson Grist Mill is the only original building to the property is the big mill, which is Benson Grist's mill.
Yes.
Everything else has been moved there. So the Forsyth cabin, which she was referencing, was actually closer to the Great Salt Lake. It was up on a hill overlooking the Great Salt Lake so that he could go down and collect salt, and then he would collect the salt and sell it. So that was kind of what the Forsyths did. And then after they passed, sometime later, that cabin was moved to the mill site. And so, and the loom room was, I think, built on the property to show, they call it a pioneer exhibit room. And we call it the loom room because
There's a bunch of looms in there.
there's a bunch of looms in there.
I shouldn't say a bunch. There's two.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you've ever seen a
they're big.
loom, they're huge.
Huge, huge.
So, I mean, you need a whole, I mean, if you had several, you need a really massive building. But I like the only reason why I like the loom room to investigate is because it's the warmest building on the
It
property.
is. It's so warm.
It is. It is.
Unless it's 100 degrees outside, then you don't want to go in there. But it's super neat. So that's awesome.
Yeah, it was way, way, way cool.
And then we had one more investigation, and it was after we spent a week at Disneyland.
Whoop, whoop.
We decided to go to Long Beach.
And go to the Queen Mary.
Yes, ma'am.
That was an amazing night.
Yes,
oh
it was.
my goodness.
I wish we could have had more time, but just like the Snaily Hotel, this is not a cheap place to stay.
It is not.
Well, not for the room that we stayed in.
No,
They have 4 suites, and we were in one of them.
because of all the days we were looking at staying there, guess what was the only room available for that night?
a suite.
So who can pass up that? And honestly, like the crazy thing about these suites is there are 4 of them. And they have removable walls, like slider walls.
So you can connect them all.
So yeah, you can essentially rent out all 4 at once and have
Huge.
one huge
Hey,
room.
now, mind you, this suite is the biggest suite I have ever been in.
Yeah, it was.
It was
good size.
Huge.
Yeah.
Yeah, it had 2 bathrooms, 2 bedrooms, and a common area.
Which was a big common area.
Yeah.
It was not your typical, like, here's your hotel room common area. It was huge.
Yeah. And this is and this is an original suite on the Queen Mary. So it's not like they, modified it and made an extra room out of it type of deal. No, this is an original suite.
Yeah. Like, so your guys' bedroom, because yours had the queen or king bed, right?
King bed.
King bed. Mm-hmm. And that room could fit like 3 beds in there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, easily.
It was huge.
Yeah.
And they all have like big closets and multiple closets.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then, so my room was the servant's room.
She was our maid.
I was the maid's room. And it's just like this little tiny room with a little twin bed. It's like, I got put in my place.
At least you know where you belong.
Oh, dude.
Yeah, I cut you off, right? Like, so my room is separated from theirs, right? But also separated from the common area.
Yeah.
It's by the front door.
Yeah.
And there's a
Unfortunately.
hallway that goes before the common area and before like the master suite and whatever. So I have this, if you can picture just kind of like a narrow bedroom. And on the left is the bed. On the right of the bed is just this random sink. And then behind the sink next to the door is a little like armoire, kind of like a little closet thing.
Yeah.
It's not set in. Anyways, so when we were ghost hunting downstairs, one of the guys came up to us and was like, oh yeah, when I was taking care of one of those suites, I was in the maid's room. I was like, that's the room I'm staying in. And he was like, I was trying to fix the sink and he stepped backwards towards the armoire and it opened up into him and like pushed him away to get him away from the armoire. And I was like, ooh, maybe I'm going to try this because that would be cool. And he was like, okay, I'm trying to be respectful. I just need to fix the sink. I'll be done in a minute. You don't need to push me out. Like, just give me a second. I'll respect you if you respect me, you know? And he went and he got it done and he hurried and left. And he's like, I will never forget that. I like shoved him out of the way.
Wow.
And
Not
he was not a slight individual.
Well, and it wasn't like just the door just goes and opens.
Like it was forceful.
No, yeah, it shoved him.
Like against the wall.
Yeah.
Like it pushed him.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
That's so crazy.
I was like, oh, dang. Wonder if that's mine. I'm like, what suite was it in? He's like, I don't remember.
Did you go in there and try and just pretend to fix the sink?
Well, I totally just stood there and wanted to see if the door would open. And
Dude, I would have been like,
I was like
clanking around on the sink and then take a step back.
Here's the thing. I didn't dare because it was so like late/early in the morning.
Yeah.
And you can hear everything.
Yeah, but a lot of people were drunk and sleeping it off.
You know what?
they
You're
were.
not wrong. You were not wrong. There was a
awful.
major party going on that night.
It was
There
horrible.
were actually 3 of them, and that was so we learned our lesson about going there in December.
Oh, yeah.
It's a wonderful ship. Honestly, it's a beautiful ship. But a lot of people have events there in December for Christmas. And so one of the reasons why the only room available was a suite was because all the rest of the rooms were booked for these parties.
Well,
Yeah.
and the funny thing is this thing kept their party was loud. The one that we were hearing was so freaking loud.
It was above our head.
You could literally hear, it wasn't just a dun, 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 you know, that you hear when music is playing up above you. You could hear the words. You
knew
could
what
hear-
song.
You knew exactly. You could sing along.
And you could feel it on the floor on your feet.
Yeah. So Jamie was having a hard time with her diabetes and stuff. And so she was in the room trying to be able to get some sleep. And you're hearing all this music. And so we went downstairs to go complain. They're like, it's a bunch of police officers.
Yeah.
Dang it. That's not going to do us any good.
Nope.
Yeah. Anyway, they said it was supposed to stop at 11. It didn't stop until after midnight.
Yeah. It stopped late. Although the nice thing is when it did finally go quiet, it went
Quiet.
Yeah.
They were the last ones.
And we had a lot of fun investigating on that ship.
And we had some good experiences there, which we'll share in an episode.
We will. We will.
So-
And we are going to have on that episode, which is coming out, obviously we're going to do it this year. So we booked a tour, and it was kind of funny because there was an 8:00 tour that they're like, look, we got a couple spots open. We only got like 2 spots open.
No, they didn't even have any open.
Oh no, so they didn't have any
It
open.
was sold out.
So they have a max of 30 people, and they had 30 people.
And we're like, hey, can you add 3 more? Like, we really want to go on a tour. And they're like, okay,
We'll see what we can do.
we'll talk to the tour guide. It's up to the tour guide. And they're like, okay, she agreed. But then they're like, hey, we forgot. We have an unadvertised tour starting at 9:00. You guys want to go on that one instead? And I'm like, yeah.
Yes, we do.
And the crazy thing was, because it wasn't advertised, we were the only ones on the tour.
This is one that I missed out on.
Which I was so freaking sad. I was like, okay, call Jamie.
Dude, when you guys left to go on the tour, like with my diabetes, being a type 1, I was hitting so many lows. And I hit one right before we were supposed to go, and it just kept dropping. And I even hit another one 2 hours later.
Yeah, and you don't want to be walking around and exercising, coming up and down stairs.
You're going to drive it lower. And if I were to pass out, then there's a whole nother issue. So I had to make the tough decision, even though I already bought my ticket, and say, I have to hold back, guys.
Yeah.
Yep.
I was literally crying when they left. I sat there for 15 minutes and I just cried. I was so frustrated. I was so upset. I was like, because this happens a lot when we travel. I seem to hit a lot of lows.
Yep.
And eventually, towards the end of something, it always comes to the point where it's like, I have to make a decision.
Yep.
Am I going to stop and let my body recover, or am I going to drop and end up in the hospital? So unfortunately, I had to miss this one. But these guys sound like they had an amazing time with an amazing tour guide.
He was probably the best tour guide I've ever had on any tour.
Bar none. Like 100%.
Yeah.
But what was so cool is he's like, okay, look, he's like, halfway through the tour, we're going to stop on your floor. and then we're going to go to the engine room. He's like, why don't you call your wife and see if she's able to come so she can go see the engine room and the pool.
See, now how sweet is that for a tour guide to be like?
Oh, and he kept checking on you. He kept like, how's she doing? Is she going to be okay?
Yeah.
Is she able to come? Like, he kept checking on you.
Yeah.
I wanted to go so bad.
So-
in fact, I laid on the couch in the common area of our room
Yeah.
with my coat and shoes on.
So you could go.
I was just waiting.
But
I was just resting and waiting.
what's going to be really cool is we're going to have him
On
as
the
a guest on this podcast.
Which is so exciting.
And he is so much fun. This is not one that you're going to want to miss.
No. And here's the crazy thing about it. He was a tour guide back in the 70s on the Queen Mary.
That's so cool.
And then he left and became a tour guide at the Stanley Hotel. And then he went back to the Queen Mary.
Wow.
So he's got tons of experience. Of course, we're also in the LA area, so he's also, an actor and part of, all of that stuff. Just a super nice, super sweet guy. And
He was so much fun,
so much fun and super knowledgeable, and he's sensitive.
which made it way cool because him and I were getting all the same things
Yeah, that's so
through that
awesome.
whole tour.
And I'm just like,
There's Josh over there.
stuff going on. Like, I totally feel him over there. I'm like, click, 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 click. Just tell me where to point the camera.
Point and shoot. Oh, man.
But what a way to end the year, though.
On the Queen Mary.
Oh, it was amazing.
Yeah.
And honestly, I'd go back.
100%. I'd do it
would
again.
totally
would
go back.
too.
I would even stay in that suite again.
Yeah.
If I didn't have to pay that much, I would do it again too.
Right. Although we did get a little bit of a discount because of what we ran into.
Because of the awfulness of the night, but I would still pay full price for that. What I would make sure to do though is do it on a different time of the year and do it in the middle of the week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
It's
agree.
going to be quieter,
I agree.
but we still had a lot. It's a lot of fun, and it was super quiet at night. And again, they don't care.
Oh, no, we were walking around that entire ship. We walked out. I don't remember what time it was. It was pretty late. Like, again, 1 o'clock in the morning when we started going ghost hunting, right?
I think we finished at like 4 o'clock in the morning. We're like,
Yeah.
we got to drive like 9 hours back.
Tomorrow.
Like, we should probably sleep a little bit.
I was
But,
already
I
asleep.
walked out of my room. The first thing I see is this lady barfing.
I remember
well,
you guys telling me about that.
The worst part is that she wasn't just throwing up on the floor. She was throwing up on herself, laying
Laying in it. And
on
I
the
was-
carpet.
Yes, and it's
100
original carpet.
It's a 150-year-old ship and original carpet.
Yep.
Like,
laying in it. Oh, my goodness.
I'm like, ah.
She was so drunk.
So I stayed with her, and Josh went and got security. To come.
Help her.
And
And
then
I
he-
was like so worried for her, and I was like, "Are
Yeah.
you okay? Whatever."
She didn't even acknowledge you.
Oh, not even.
She was
for
gone,
a second.
huh?
She didn't acknowledge the security guard when she
And
came
the
up.
security
so she was,
guard came, and he was not caring one bit, like in like her worried about her health or anything. He's like, "Oh, would you get up?"
Ma'am, you need to go to your room. Where's
I
your
was
room?
laughing so hard. I was like, I was so like worried for her. Would you just get up?
He's like over it.
Where are you staying? Let's go.
Well, I remember we saw her earlier that night, and granted, I didn't see her laying on the floor puking on herself, but I remember seeing her, and she was with a guy who looked like a biker earlier that night, a really tall, slender guy.
They both were bikers.
Yeah. But yeah, I remember seeing them earlier.
Well,
Where
yeah.
was he in all this?
Not a clue. He left her.
Probably drunk in his room too.
Probably.
Doing
He
the same
made
thing.
the sensible decision to go back to the hotel.
Yeah.
Sleep it off. Wow.
Yeah, it was blackout drunk. I mean,
Oh my.
the good thing is that she didn't go overboard because, like, it is an open promenade deck, one
It
floor up,
is. It is. Yeah.
and so it wouldn't be hard to go
Oh
overboard.
no, not one bit.
Like you lean over to puke and you lean just a little too far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So at least it was on the ship and not worse.
Right.
So, but
Well, and hopefully she's okay.
hopefully.
I'm sure she's fine.
So yeah, those are all of our investigations for the year. So what was your favorite one?
Josh, what was your favorite?
Yeah.
My favorite one? Oh my gosh, all of them. No,
How do you pick?
right? Actually, even though it was short and kind of crazy at first, I don't know. The Queen Mary for me. It was such a fun investigation, and we had such a good time. Mm-hmm. It just left me with going, I want to come back. I want to do it again.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. Totally get it.
I want to get that guy to do another tour.
Yes.
I would do it again.
Yeah, his name was Paul.
His name was
I was
Paul.
like, okay, Paul, what do we have to do to get you to just have BS again?
Yeah.
Yep.
And just
We'll do it.
do a repeat. Can we do that? Like,
With me this time.
yes.
Like, we'll buy the tour out. What do we got to do? What
buy
we
it.
got to do? Because, yeah, he was amazing. He was so much fun.
Yeah, I'm sorry I missed that one.
Yeah. But it would be cool to investigate with him.
It would be. It'd be a lot of fun. I think it could be a very interesting investigation night.
Oh, yeah.
So what about you, Jamie?
For me, it's got to be the Stanley.
Oh,
And
was
not
amazing.
not just because of so we went on the ghost tour there, and that was great. That was fun.
Yep.
And then we got to go lock up,
which was fun.
which was awesome.
Yep. We got to make a few people jealous. Why do they get to go?
Yeah.
And we
So
kind
cool.
of she let us ghost hunt a little bit.
She did. Yeah.
That was fun.
But I mean, so that was really cool when we got to go around lock up and stuff with her. You guys got to go and investigate later. I was up in the room kind of staging stuff for the next day to leave. But I did a little investigating up there, but I really didn't get anything in our room.
Right.
But yeah, Lisa and I had some fun, scaring some people up on the fourth
was
floor.
a freaking blast.
It was so fun.
That was the most memorable part for me. I think we were at the perfect spot for our hotel room. It was at the top of the stairs.
On the end of it's essentially the end of a hall.
hallway.
Yep. And people were coming and going, just checking the place out. Like, people were going on tours. They would stop at the bottom of the stairs. Like, they would be down, on the other floor. And they would just look up and point out the rooms and talk about them. And then later, people would come up on their own
To do pictures
and look around and whatever.
Experience the haunted floor.
Yeah.
And so Jamie and I, there's like a little peephole out of our door. And so
We turned off all the lights.
We turned off all the lights, and we would wait for people to come up the stairs, and then we take the door handle and just go shake, 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 and shake it up to shake the door to see if people would notice, and turn around and be like, "Oh my gosh, did you hear that?"
Oh, and then we'd run our nails down it.
It was so much
And then
fun.
watch their reactions to the people. It was hilarious.
We were freaking out. And then we sent Jamie out, and Jamie was acting like she was just walking around doing the exact same thing, taking pictures. And there was a couple that had just done a seance. And
they're primed.
Oh, they were ready. And they come up the stairs looking around, and she has an ice bucket in her hands, right? And they're, quote, looking for the ice.
Yeah.
And for the ice machine.
Which was hard to find.
It was hard
yeah,
to find.
Yeah. And so they're coming up the stairs, and all of a sudden, and Jamie's I do the shaking thing, and Jamie's talking to him, and Jamie's like, "Whoa, did you hear that?" And they're like, "Yeah, we heard that downstairs too." And
we heard it at the Stephen King suite.
yeah. So then I wait a little bit, and Jamie's just chatting with him, and then I do it even harder. And it freaks her out.
She jumps.
Throws the lid of the ice bucket, and almost jumps into the arms of her boyfriend or husband.
Either one. Yeah, I don't know.
And Jamie was like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe she was totally playing it up. It was the best thing ever." And then I jump out, and I'm like, "It's just me, just kidding."
They were such good sports.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
they were
so
great
much fun.
sports.
It was so much fun.
But yeah, we had a group of I think they were teenagers or something.
I would say early 20s.
Maybe, yeah. But they were up kind of, I don't know, they weren't right by the stairs. They were down a little bit.
So, well, if you can picture we're at the top of the stairs, but it's kind of like a rounded balcony.
Yeah.
And the round is kind of like a C shape, right? So it curves and to the right, and where that is also some elevators.
It's a hallway to the elevators on the other side.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they came from the elevators and just were kind of standing right there. They were spooking themselves out.
They were.
Totally spooking themselves out. And so they're sitting there and they're just chatting. Me and Jamie are like, "This is awesome.
This is so perfect."
So there we go again. We start shaking the door really hard, and they freaked.
They ran.
Now here's the thing. There was 3 guys and 2 girls or something like that.
Yeah, there was
all
like 5.
the dudes pushed the girls out of the way
And ran. Down the hall.
And the girl was like, "Nope, nope, nope." And I booked it out. so good.
We had the best time.
I'd do it again. Oh my gosh, it was so much fun.
I was on the Stephen King tour when you guys were doing it.
Oh. You missed out, dude. It was great.
And we did it like 3 or 4 times.
Oh, yeah.
A day.
He's not wrong.
No, it's not.
No.
But we got video of some of it.
Yeah, I'm like, can we do this again? Oh, this will be great.
We just sit there and wait for somebody.
What was your favorite, Elisa?
My favorite, it's kind of a toss-up between the Washoe Club and Stanley for very different reasons. Stanley, because it's just a classic hotel.
Beautiful.
And we just had some amazing experiences that not a lot of people ever get to have just because we happened to be at the right place at the right time.
Yeah.
But then the Washoe Club, we just had so many audible experiences and just physical things that we could smell, you know, like all that stuff that uses your senses that we don't normally get.
Yeah.
So for very different reasons, I like the Washoe Club and the Stanley.
So it's kind of a tie.
It's a tie for me.
Washoe was definitely the active place over the Stanley. I mean, in a way, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say so.
But you know, the Stanley makes it a little bit harder because it is an active hotel. So, like activity wise, like there's a lot of.
But it's also the atmosphere.
Yeah.
You know, the atmosphere also makes a big difference. And that's what the Stanley has that the Washoe doesn't. So you just have 2 very different hauntings and very different investigative places that for me, that's hard to compare.
One is old and dusty and one is old and electrifyingly nice.
Yes, beautiful.
Those carpets.
Oh, dang.
Oh, it was so bad. I've never been electrocuted that bad in my life. And everybody was talking about it.
Yeah.
Anybody that was going over to the stairways or going over to the elevator, they were like, I don't know what is going on with this place, but it is full of electricity.
It is charged.
Well, I talked to maintenance, right? I was talking about the craziness about the electricity, right? And they're like, you should see it in the summertime. It's worse.
Oh, no.
Like people will be walking down the hallways, right? And they'll get zapped on their head.
Yeah, from the ceiling.
From the ceiling light bulb, the light fixtures in the ceiling will come down like 6 to 8 inches and zap you.
Well, yeah, because remember when we were going to the elevator and you went to press the button and you're like 4 inches away from the button and a blue lightning bolt struck your finger from the button?
That hurt.
Well, you heard it crack.
Yeah, it was
know.
loud.
Can you imagine going with just your socks on?
No.
And you know, how when you're kids, you go around with your socks and you rub against the floor and then you try to touch fingers and try to zap each other.
I think you might kill somebody.
I know.
Get a bunch of balloons.
What if someone's heart's stopped? You're like, hold on, I got this. You just start going across the carpet. Clear.
Oh, man.
Oh, geez. It was so fun, though.
Crazy.
Yeah, I got shocked through my shoes.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
How did that
rubber-soled
happen?
shoes.
My rubber-soled shoes. I got shocked through my shoes.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's so crazy.
The problem is you could feel it building too. Like
Oh, yeah.
You know it's coming.
You know it's coming. You're like, how do I discharge this?
I always try to use my elbow or something with a bunch of clothes on it so that I could at least block some of the jolts.
Yeah.
The zap. Yeah, that's funny. You always hear it pop and crackle.
Right. So we covered a lot of topics throughout this last season of the podcast. Mm-hmm. What was your favorite episode?
I think the true ghost stories for me.
That was a good one.
That was a really good one.
I really liked that one.
That was a great series. We did 2 episodes on that.
We did. I would actually, because there are so many out there, I would like to do maybe a couple more episodes sometime this year.
Well, I mean, that's kind of, and we'll get to that part, but we're kind of doing it. We're going to be kind of doing that this year.
Do little mini episodes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What about you, Elisa?
Mine was the near-death visions.
That was a good one.
Another really good one.
Yeah, I really got into this year on my own. I really got into watching Nurse Hadley and a couple of other different nurses, hospice nurses that talked about or continue to talk about experiences that they have with seeing their dead loved ones when they're getting close to passing away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just got fascinated with that. And I just realized there are so many stories.
There are tons.
So many stories.
And the thing is, we think about like ghostly hauntings and things like that as things that happen after people have passed. We don't necessarily think about those that have come to collect those or who are going to pass.
Yeah.
So it's like a different twist.
It
Yeah,
is.
It really pulls you in too.
It does. And the thing is I think those are the more warming stories.
Oh,
They're
for sure.
It's not like, demons and ghouls and specters.
Although
Oh my.
there are some of those stories that I've even read lately that have had experiences like that. And they're worried, like, am I going to go to hell? Like,
Right.
there's this really scary entity that like keeps coming after me.
Yeah.
Oh, that
and
would
they're
be
in the
frightening.
hospital and whatever. Like, that would be terrifying.
Well, and that's when we talked to Pollyanna, who worked as a nurse for years and unfortunately watched a lot of people pass away. She said you could tell, like, some people would have this look of fright and fear on their face. And she's like, what are they seeing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so like, you got to wonder, like, what is it in that avenue? Could it be something scary that they're seeing, that they realize that,
I'm in trouble.
this
I
ain't
need to do
good.
some repenting right now. So that
There's no time to waste. Yeah.
I got 5 seconds, so better get it done.
Yeah.
I think for me, my favorite episode is a toss
Okay.
between the Stanley Hotel,
Of course.
because one, it was just a fun episode to do.
That was a great trip, you guys.
It was such a great trip, and the Disney hauntings.
That one was fun too.
Well, and both of those, we experienced them both. Like, we went to both of those places.
Yes,
we did.
And Jamie and I have been to Disney
5 times.
5 times in a row. The only year we haven't
a
been,
row?
well, every
Every
year.
year.
The only year we haven't gone was 2020 because nobody was going to Disneyland in 2020.
It was closed.
It's closed. But every year other than that, we've been. And so like, there's a special place for us with that place. And then you're like, I wonder if it's haunted. Oh, well, you know what? It is.
Yeah. Well, and while we were there, they had that earthquake too, which we were none the wiser to.
Oh, which
None
is such
the
a
wiser.
bummer. I mean, like, if they're going to have one, I at least want to fill it.
Well, you know
Right?
what stunk was we had just waited through a very long line for Small World. And we were like next in line for our boat. And they're like, sorry, folks.
Go that way. We're
Rides are
like, what just
closed."
happened?
They're like, huh?
What
Yeah.
happened?
They're like,
Yeah.
well, you can come back later. We'll give you a voucher. And it's like, but why? What happened? And then you don't realize this. You don't know that Disneyland has a protocol for earthquakes, and the entire park shuts down for an hour to 2 hours so they can verify the rides are safe.
Yep.
And
All
with-
the rides.
all
shut
the
down.
rides.
Which is
Yeah.
great.
It's
Yeah.
wonderful. But you're like, now what?
Now you have all these people, none of them on rides, and you can't get through anywhere.
No.
No.
It's
And-
a sea of people.
Yeah, and everybody's like flooding into these tiny crevices to get out.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It
Choke
was-
points.
Yeah.
It's pretty bad.
But it was, yeah, I mean, that was fun. And then, of course, one of the things we talked about on there was the Haunted Mansion ride and how the Haunted Mansion was haunted by a little boy. And we get off the ride, and what's the first thing Elisa says?
Guess what I saw?
Guess where,
Yep.
guess where the little boy's at?
Yep.
Which he was, where was he?
So in the dancing room,
The ballroom.
in the ballroom, there's like a big, isn't like a fireplace
Yeah, on the one wall.
on the right wall. And he was sitting above, like sitting up on top of the mantle.
That's so cool.
That's so neat. I mean, if you're going to be haunting a place and a ride, like, what a perfect ride to haunt the Haunted Mansion.
Right?
Yeah, and it was just like he was sitting there, like swinging his legs, like
Just watching everybody. Hi.
Chilling. Like, this is fun. Which is, honestly, besides Pirates of the Caribbean, like, the Haunted Mansion is one of my favorite rides.
Is it?
oh, me too.
Yeah.
The only problem is we haven't seen the original Haunted Mansion overlay.
Ever since the first time we ever went.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's always
Because
in
you
the
go
holiday.
during like Christmas or Halloween.
And Halloween.
We went,
Thanksgiving. Yeah.
Christmas and Halloween. So
Yep.
we've seen we have seen that Nightmare Before Christmas overlay.
Yeah. Although they are shutting the Haunted Mansion down. It's shut down now until August.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're doing they're going to do, well, I'm sure they're doing a refurb on the inside, but they're actually building a new gift shop.
At the end of the ride.
Oh.
The
So,
exit.
You know,
Because that's so important.
Right? I know.
well, they're going to build a carriage house.
Oh, that's going to be cool.
Yeah. So it's going to be themed with the hotel or with the mansion.
Yeah.
And because, I mean, obviously, if you've ever been to Disneyland and you've been on the Haunted Mansion ride, there's a little gift cart at the end, and it's really sad. So having a real gift shop there would be nice.
yeah. Might not be so bad.
But they're redoing that whole area between the Haunted Mansion and Tiana's. They're redoing that whole space. They're putting in a whole new concert area and then doing a whole bunch of stuff in that New Orleans Square area.
Yeah.
So it's no better time than now to do it.
I suppose.
And it's not going to matter. We're not going to be there anyway.
No, we're not. We're not going this year.
So, but let's talk about this year.
What about it?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Right?
What's going on?
What's going on this year?
Do tell.
We've got some changes coming to the podcast.
We do?
We do. Which
We just talked about this for the first hour before.
We did?
that wasn't an hour. That was 2 hours.
Beige,
Yeah.
gray. Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah. I remember you.
So one thing is we're going to redo the recording area,
Yes, we are.
which most of you don't know what we record on now because you've maybe only seen 1 or 2 posts on social media about it. That's going to change. We're actually going to start doing video as well. So you have audio only still, like everything else. And then we're going to start doing our videos up on YouTube,
Yeah, so we're getting rid of the podcast table.
which is a big 4-foot round, ugly table.
Yep.
But it works.
It works.
And it fits all of Jamie's snacks.
Barely.
You know, I'm a candy hoarder. I don't really eat them, but I love to collect
She's like
candy.
surrounded by them.
Me?
They're encircled you. Okay.
Well, the thing is Elisa's surrounded by them too because she's next to Jamey.
Yeah, but she had some on the other side of hers too.
I did have one giant bag. It's like the
4-pound bag
of Tootsie Rolls I think I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
They're the fruity ones.
Yeah, they're the fruity ones.
They're so good.
So we're going to be bringing our podcast to YouTube,
Yeah.
which we are going to bring our older episodes as well. So you'll be able to see all of our new stuff and you'll get still a flavor of our older episodes as well if you want to re-listen to those on YouTube.
Yeah.
So the cool thing is with our videos, you get to see our beautiful faces. That's good or bad. I'm not entirely certain.
I don't know.
But
Can I wear a mask? Ooh, a bag over my head.
it could be the reveal of the week.
Right? Nah.
The other thing that's going to be happening is we are going to be going to weekly episode releases,
Yes.
which you may have noticed already that we've released 2 episodes this year. The format's going to be a little different, is that you're going to get a long format episode like this one every other week. And then every other week, you're going to get a short format episode.
Yeah.
Just like a mini episode.
Just like a mini episode. And it's going to be like people's, like the true ghost stories that Jamey loved the episode of. It's going to be like those. So you get to hear other ghostly encounters that people have had. And then you get the nice long format too. So it's a little mix of both.
But they will be completely different stories.
Yes.
Yes, exactly.
Yep. And as far as investigations go, well, we're still working on those. We have a few things in mind.
We do.
Nothing concrete yet, of course.
And there's a couple new places we want to go investigate that are local to Utah
Yeah.
that we haven't gotten a chance to do yet. So those are always fun. But yeah, we haven't got anything concrete yet.
No. But we're working on it.
We are. And we just want to say thank you for everyone for listening and tuning in for season 4 of our podcast.
Season 4. Wow.
I know.
I still can't believe that. That sounds weird.
Blows my mind. It really doesn't seem like it's
Been 4 years?
No.
We're going on 4 years, guys.
Yeah.
That's crazy. It's cool, but it's crazy.
And you know what? I'm still surprised that people listen. I mean, I love it that you all listen
Yes.
to our podcast. It's still a little shocking to me that we get people tuning in.
Yeah.
it's one of those things you hope for but you don't bank on, right?
Exactly.
And when it continues to grow the way that it's growing, it's just so much fun.
It is.
It is.
So thank you all so very much.
Yes, to all of our listeners, we appreciate you
That's so very, very
so much.
And as always, stay ghosty, my peeps.
Are you looking for your next true crime podcast? Do you crave stories that have mystery and suspense? Well, look no further. Introducing Love and Murder, the podcast that dives deep into the world of relationships gone horribly wrong. Every week, I take you on a journey through the dark side of love, where passion turns into obsession, family becomes enemies, and romance turns to murder. So why should you listen to Love and Murder? Because this is not just another true crime podcast. We're your partners in crime, your storytellers, and your weekly dose of suspenseful entertainment. So what are you waiting for? Join the LAM community, www.murderandlove.com. That's Love and Murder backwards, murderandlove.com. See you soon.
See, you're not even recording any of this.
I wasn't.
Yeah, I know. This is like gold. And
I know,
he just like
right?
doesn't
Okay,
record
hold on.
it.
Oh, silent.
Oh, silent.
Rude.
But deadly. Nice try, though. Better out than in, I always say.
Mine stings so bad.
Oh, no. Dude, don't waft it here. I don't want to whiff of your butt bulge. Your butt bubbles.
My poo particles flying in the air.
I don't want to inhale those poo particles.
My water was open and everything.
You're drinking poo water. Brown
Butt water.
Brown butt water.
Okay. Oh, that was funny.
I got plenty of sugar for fuel.
Right? You do.
I'm a candy hoarder.
You also look like a water hoarder.
Well, I mean,
You
Gotta wash it down.
You got 4 bottles of water.
these are all mine. These are yours.
4 bottles of water, a prime drink.
Hey, I forgot my Ghost Energy drink.
I don't think you need it.
Two giant pails of Laffy Taffy.
Yep.
Sweetheart ropes.
Yep.
Skittle bag.
Tropical Skittles.
Sour Punch bites.
Yep.
A huge container of M&Ms. Peanut
Yeah,
M&Ms.
peanut butter M&Ms.
Oh, peanut butter M&Ms. Girl.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, and a 4-pound bag of Tootsie Rolls.
those are in front of me.
All the fruit
And-
ones. She's like, those are mine.
Your chocolate bar.
Yeah.
And I just got
Yeah.
water.
I'm a candy hoarder, but I'm not a big candy eater. I think it's the colors. They're so pretty and vibrant. And I just like the colors.
I just like the colors. I just buy it for the colors.
I mean, that's what really kind
I'll
of
just
pulls
give
me
you
in.
some crayons and some coloring books.
Not the same. It's the shiny plastic wrappers.
Thank you for listening to the Paranormal Peeps podcast. You can find us on social media at Twitter at CPR Paranormal, on Facebook at Paranormal Peeps Podcast and Cold Spot Paranormal Research. And you can find us on Instagram at coldspot_paranormal_research.